Trooper Steve is joining us now. And Steve, while the shooting did obviously cause panic for students and parents, school leaders are thanking law enforcement for making that quick arrest. There were some successes here yesterday. What were those?
Yeah, absolutely. We think about this. We showed it yesterday evening and this morning, that timeline, right? That timeline that we went and we showed. Within 3 minutes, we had a location of a firearm, and within under 25 minutes, we had a shooter in custody. So that just shows how fluid law enforcement and the teamwork, I feel, actually happened there. Look, I was the chairman for the school resource officer task force down in Osceola County, and we got to really dive into stuff. And what we saw yesterday was almost textbook with how officers responded, how teachers handled the situation, and how a community came together, and it happened that quick.
And Steve, when we look at how the students and the parents reacted in this situation, did things go as well as they could have? What can we take away from it?
Well, one, I'm not a parent, so I always try to accept and understand the stresses that a parent could be going through, and especially these students when something like this happens. So we have to remember, first and foremost, you have to stay calm. And as a parent, you want to be in control of the situation because your child could be in danger. At the end of the day, you are not there. You are not on scene. So you have to be able to calm not only your student who could be at school, but understand that law enforcement is already have boots on the ground. So getting there or social media and be stressed out is something that you don't want to do. So reach out to the department, maybe hop on social media, see where they're going to have a rally point at, have your students stay calm. And as a student, if we have students watching this right now, look, it is not a time to be up and filming things out of the windows. We didn't get a lot of video from yesterday because I truly think Seminole County students were focused. We're paying attention. We're listening to the teachers when they said, sit down, shelter in place. And I think that's why yesterday ended up being overall fairly successful.
And Steve, Marjory Stoneman Douglas shooting is about the 4-year anniversary next month. There was an act that was put in place. Do you feel like that assisted in yesterday's, outcome with the additional SROs on campus?
Absolutely, Candace. You think about this. So with that act, with that law that is now here in the state of Florida, high schools are required to have 2 school resource officers physically on the campus all the time when school's in session. And that's what happened yesterday. We had those 2 SROs there. If that law wasn't in effect, we don't know if an SRO would have been on campus, but there were 2 there ready to act. And I tell you, the fact that these officers were able to, one, find a victim, find the casings, find the firearm, and then relay to other law enforcement officers what was happening is what really made this as smooth as possible, because you want to point out there's a timeline that takes place. So think about if the SROs weren't on campus, right? Then a civilian on campus would have had to contact police. The police would have had to dispatch law enforcement. Law enforcement would have had to get there. The shooter could have been gone, and we would have never found a shooter or maybe even found the firearm. So this law came into play. The school resource officers did their job and beyond. Teachers were calm, students were calm, and for the most part, parents let law enforcement do their job. I know it is a tragic situation what happened yesterday, and it unfortunately won't be the last type of law enforcement situation, but the rules were in place, they were followed, and yet here we are.
All right, thanks so much, Trooper Steve.